Welcome to this episode of the Growthcast. It's me, Jackson Campbell, again joined here today with the amazing Dallas Pruitt for a weekly review. I don't know if we're going to review all of the episodes from this past week's drips that Dallas has dropped, but there's one episode in particular that Dallas and I wanted to talk about and dive a little bit deeper on today. For those of you that just tune in on the weekends, make sure you're tuning in on the weekdays as well. Dallas drops daily drips that are very powerful to help you get your mind right for the day, and really just it's an awesome little drip to make sure that your mindset's staying where it needs to be. So definitely tune into those weekly, Monday through Thursday. Dallas drops those daily drips, and then on Friday I have the opportunity to sit down with Tyler Devereaux, interview him on a subject. If you didn't get the chance to listen to the episode that dropped today, Dallas and I record on Friday, but if you're listening to this on a Saturday, the episode that dropped right before this one was excellent. Tyler was locked and loaded. He talked about his trip out to St. Louis, where he met with Ed Milet and Andy Frisella. It was an awesome episode. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to that one, definitely go back.
I learned a ton.
And give that one a listen. If you haven't rated and reviewed the podcast yet either, please go ahead and do that. Leave us a review. We love seeing those. We appreciate those so much, and it helps us expand our reach as well. So please do that. I think that's it. If you need also another thing that I wanted to share is definitely share the episode. If you haven't shared it with somebody, sharing is caring. So Dallas is definitely dropping valuable information on these episodes. So definitely share those with the people that you love so they can gain as much from it as you have. But enough for me, Dallas.
Listen to this review. I'm great, especially now that I just read this review. You're talking about reviews, and I wanted to, we've tried to get in the habit of reading a few of these, and this was the review that we just recently received on Apple Podcasts, 5-star review from Pan and Hick. Okay. And the review says, "Bigger than just a deal. This is for the long haul, the monumental change we are all looking for when it comes to taking action daily, weekly, and monthly. In order to create change is to take action now. Great audio to keep you fueled and inspired to keep going and going and going."
That is
Love
awesome.
That review,
That's
man.
Such a good review. Thank you. Whoever sent that review, thank you so much. That perfectly embodies what we're trying to do here on the Growthcast. What we're trying to do with the Multifamily Mindset. We know that doing these deals is huge and so beneficial to your financial life and your financial well-being. But also, we want to help you change your life. That's what Multifamily Mindset is. It's much more than a multifamily acquisitions company or a mindset company. And we want to help people better their lives in every aspect of that. So thank you for that review. So kind.
Which leads perfectly into what you were asking me, which was, is there anything you want to add? Or you were going to ask me if I had anything there. And I would say that that's really the basis as to why we've created our Maui Mastermind. That's coming up. We are in the business of helping people not just change their lives and do a deal, but to be here to support them to reach the next stage and the next stage and the next stage of growth in their lives, financially, physically, emotionally. Tyler and I, we are both two people who love learning at the highest level possible. And we know what comes from coaching, mentors, being a part of a system that works, buying into it, and then continually reaching out for support within those circles and helping people pull you up and stretch you. And that's an ongoing process that he and I are both a part of. He talks about Arete Syndicate and his experience there. He does that strategically. I do those types of things strategically, and we've strategically made and created this mastermind with that exact focus in mind, which is we want people to not just do a deal or grow a thriving business. We want people to be supported throughout the duration of growth and stretch themselves and meet them where they're at and help take themselves to the next level. And that involves a lot of moving parts. It's not just business. It's not just life. It's both. It's all of it. And so
it's the heart. It's the harmony of those two things as well, right? Yep. It's always something that you're talking about and harping on. No, dude, Dallas, thank you so much. So Dallas did mention the Maui Mastermind that we have coming up. Dallas, remind me those dates.
The Maui Mastermind is going to be December 10th and 11th. and 12th or something like that, 10th, 11th, 12th, or 11th, 12th, and 13th in October. And then we do have an Orlando mastermind out at our headquarters out in Orlando, which will be December 21st and 22nd or something like that. I can't remember. Gotcha. We'll drop the dates in the links. I might have them crossed up, but yeah, we'll get those posted.
Yeah. And if you want to know more about that, obviously follow the link in the show notes. I'll make sure that there's a link down there in the show notes so you can understand more about what those events are. But they're going to be special events here in Maui and in Orlando, where it's a smaller group. We plan on doing a smaller group with Dallas and Tyler and maybe some other special guests as well, to speak and talk on mindset and growth mindset and how to better your lives and better your businesses, set goals, that kind of thing. It's going to be awesome. Check out the links in the show notes.
I just remembered my correction here.
Learn. Yeah, go ahead.
Those October dates are the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Those are the dates in October, and the December dates are actually the 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, right there in that window. So,
and then the October one's Orlando, the December one's Maui.
Correct.
Gotcha. Awesome. Correct. Awesome. Well, if you want to know more about those, obviously, please feel free to reach out. But we will have those links in the show notes. Dal, let's dive in, man. Let's dive in. The episode that we really wanted to talk about today was the drip that you dropped on Monday, titled "The Game of Bigger or Better." Talks about a gentleman that started trading with a paperclip, and worked his way to trade all the way up to a home, which is pretty wild. It was a house. So Dal, go ahead. I'll let you do a synopsis.
Yeah, so I'll do a little synopsis on this. And it was 2006. The guy's name was Kyle McDonald, and he traded a red paper clip for a house. Now, there was a series of trades that happened between that final transaction and that initial transaction. But it started when this dude posted a picture of his paper clip, and he just asked, does anyone have anything bigger or better? And if so, would you want to make a trade? So he jumps on, and little did he know how much bigger, right? We already said it. He got a house out of this, but the process went from like a paper clip to a fishing lure to this unique gold doorknob, a keg of beer, a generator, a camp chef, a snowmobile. And then it got really crazy, and he ended up getting an afternoon that he could spend with rock star Alice Cooper. And then he traded that for an Alice Cooper snow globe that was like very rare and worth a lot of money. I'm pretty sure he probably took advantage of whoever the dude was that traded for this. Probably had no damn clue what he was doing.
Yeah.
Then actor Corbin Burnson, he was a huge collector of these types of snow globes. He called this Kyle and he said, "Hey man, I want the snow globe. And I'll give you a role in a movie if you give me the snow globe." And someone called him and wanted the role in the movie after he had, attained this role in the movie, because he didn't really want the role in the movie. He wanted to see where he could take this thing. And he traded that role in the movie for a farmhouse in Canada. And that's how he ended up to that final transaction. Pretty impressive.
Yes.
But, and that's all fun and games, but the point is this game of bigger or better, it really does a really good job of illustrating an important fact, that us as people, we're generally willing to take a chance on things, right? If it feels like the risk is viable for us, it's not too much of a stretch, right? If it only feels like a small stretch, the research has shown that people are much more likely to do that. And the reason is because it's a little bit easier, truth be told, right? Yeah. Like it's like a lot easier to just stretch yourself a little bit versus a lot. And we wanted to put a light on this psychology, which is called the psychology of small wins. It's a formula for success that I live by, that Tyler lives by, that any great person who's great at what it is they do lives by, right? It's a formula for success where each day is an opportunity for that individual. For me, every day is an opportunity to just get a little bit better than I was yesterday. a little bit smarter, a little bit stronger, a little bit wiser, a little bit kinder, a little bit whatever it is that I'm working on, right? A little bit closer to the best version of me. And you guys will hear me say all the time on the Growthcast that little by little, a little becomes a lot. And there is so much truth in that. It's one of the truest statements you'll ever hear. But for whatever reason, when people approach change, when people approach the actual work of making something come to fruition that they've drafted up as a big goal, they don't think that way. They start thinking big, fast, move,
quickest way possible,
make big gains. How can I get there? What's the shortcut? And it's just bad. It's a bad move, because that's not how progress happens. Progress happens daily. It literally happens daily, and it happens within all these facets of your life, you as a whole. You know, we say this all the time, that like the goals don't get easier. You just get better. You just get better as a person. And that is an incremental growth process that literally happens from day to day, day to day.
It's so interesting that you talk about this, and we talk about this as you're talking about it. It reminds me of a video that Tyler posted on our network page, our Multifamily Mindset private network page that we have on Facebook. And in that video, he talked about doing things one step at a time, not skipping steps, right? Oftentimes we want to go from paperclip to farmhouse. You know, that we like, you know what I mean? As the individuals that we are, we're maybe not satisfied with who we are as a person, and we want to become this highly successful, high achiever of an individual. But it doesn't work like that. You don't go from paperclip to trade to a farmhouse, right? There's these little incremental steps that you have to take as an individual. As Tyler said, there's everybody wants to jump from A to Z, but forget that there's a whole bunch of other letters in there as well that you have to hit to be able to become that person that is Z, or from that paperclip to that farmhouse. There's these things that have to happen for you to be able to grow and to become that ultimate product that you're looking for.
Yeah, I love that you said don't skip steps. It's something that Tyler talks about, and it's something that that beautiful man sitting in that room across from you in that office there says often too, which is Ryan Woolley. He always talks about the importance of not skipping steps. We cannot skip steps. And there's so much value in the step, because that's where learning happens. That's where confidence is gained, is through experience. Tyler talked, this is Friday. I listen to the Aloha Friday drips. I'm a learner. I like learning. I am a supporter of my friends, but I wouldn't care if Jackson and Tyler were my friends or not. I like learning, and I like being in high-level learning environments, and that is what the Growthcast is. That is what Aloha Friday drips are all about. So I'm on there listening, and Tyler's talking about his experience with Ed Milet and Andy Frisella, and he talks about how Andy is able to do what he is able to do, both of them, but he was talking about an example from Andy specifically, because he has been there. When he's talking to something, he has been there. He's experienced that. And those small wins, those day-to-day incremental actions, you're gaining experience. You're actually increasing your confidence level. You're increasing your capacity. You're increasing your skill set. And that's where progress comes from, is all those things. But when you try to skip steps, you don't gain all that stuff, right? You're just looking for a quick fix. You're looking for a solution to a problem that's much deeper than the problem you think it is that you're trying to solve. The problem's way deeper than that. The problem is you. The problem is the way you view things. The problem is much deeper than just that one fixed problem that you think you need. And here's my other piece to that, which is you might find a shortcut. You might find a shortcut to do a deal. Let's take doing a deal, for example. You might find a shortcut to do a deal, and it'll feel good in the moment, but very quickly after you've successfully done that deal, whatever that deal is for you, that could be a figurative deal, right? you'll feel that void again. It'll come right back in. It'll come right back in, because where true growth comes from is those incremental actions, gaining confidence, experience, expertise, skill sets. And that's where fulfillment comes from in the growth process, is the learning, is the experiential learning and changing and evolution that happens through those small daily wins. Yeah. And anyways, you don't want to be that awesome person. You don't want to be that person that fills that void once you've got that. Maybe you found that shortcut. I'm here to tell you, you'll fill that void very quickly, almost if not immediately after that hit of dopamine from hitting something like that.
I totally agree. And I think a lot comes into play there in the sense of fulfillment, right? If you find a shortcut to accomplish something, you're not going to feel fulfilled by getting it. Right, that getting through all of these hard things, as Dallas is talking about, gaining all of those experiences, is where the joy is found as well, right? Where the anticipation for that end product is felt. If there's no anticipation, if there's no uncomfortable actions or uncomfortable things that you're getting through to receive whatever it is that you're looking for, you're not going to have that sense of fulfillment because you didn't go through the necessary steps to be able to gain it, right?
Absolutely.
I think as we're talking about these steps too, another really important thing to remember is growth is uncomfortable. And as you're growing and as you're doing this A to Z, going through all these steps, you should be feeling uncomfortable, right? Growing pains. One of the things Dallas and I has talked about is growing pains, right? We work for a couple of companies that are growing at extreme rates. We're growing really, really fast, and we're having really great success. But because of that comes really quick growing pains. There's these pains that you feel when you grow. So that's important to remember too. As you're going through this, remembering that pain, remembering that uncomfortable feeling that you have as you're growing is part of that experience of what Dallas is talking about, but also is going to be part of the sense of fulfillment you have at the end when you do acquire whatever it is that you're chasing. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Expect that pain. Expect it. Know it's coming. Don't try to avoid it. In fact, lean into it and learn to thrive in the midst of it. That's what it's all about. That's what this podcast is all about. That's why we talk about mindset as heavily as we do. I wanted to come back though to the fulfillment piece, Jax, because it's something that I really like. I'm very passionate about. I know you are too. I know you are a person who designs your life around fulfilling experiences. You want to be fulfilled in your work. We all do. We all do. I mean, literally, it's human nature to want to feel a certain way about the work you do every day. And what was interesting that came into my brain is, I've had a million people throughout the course of my career be like, well, how did you teach when you were a teacher? Or, I can't believe they're still teaching. I have people in my circle that are teachers in my family, oh man, I couldn't do that. It's like, well, have you ever gone into the hard situation that is a classroom of young people and parents and served them and watched them grow? Have you ever done that? If you haven't, the reason people can teach and are still there, even though they get paid jack diddly shit, is because it's extremely fulfilling. It's extremely fulfilling. That's the power of fulfillment. That's the power of designing your life around fulfillment. It is literally the roots of success, in my opinion, is to live a life where you wake up and you go, I did something extremely impactful today. And doing that for yourself too, not just others, but doing that for yourself too, sticking to your dreams and aligning those dreams with the right things, which is, how can I impact the world? How can I help people? And it's fulfillment is literally it's the foundation of success. Dude, we have to define success with this extreme layer of fulfillment. When you wake up every day fulfillment, when you wake up full from the service you've provided and how you've went about that, meaning you stretched yourself, you became better for somebody around you, for other people around you. that is a life well lived. That's a business that's going to thrive,
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just wanted to come back on kind of that thought I had with you saying, fulfillment. You were kind of honing in on that word fulfillment. And it just made me think about, that question that people have asked me. Well, how can teachers do? Because, dude, they're so fulfilled, and that is addicting to wake up fulfilled every day. That's not something that everybody wakes up and gets to experience, but those that strategically go about their lives and design it a specific way,
totally,
they are. And again, those small daily incremental betterment pieces that you've ingrained into your daily approach so that you can grow yourself, it's very fulfilling, very, very fulfilling to put a microscope on that small 1%. It seems minuscule, but to me, it's like the most exciting part of my life is to wake up and go, oh my hell, I'm this much better today than I was yesterday.
Well, right along those lines is a fantastic actionable, right? Today we're talking about how to get from A to Z and making sure that you're doing all the steps from bigger to better on how to gain this traction. I think this is a great actionable that you're talking about right now, Dallas, is really figure out what does fulfill you and make sure that that's looped in on your end goal so that you are fulfilled when you get there. You know what I mean? Money for a lot of people isn't that sense of fulfillment. A lot of people don't feel fulfillment when they do have that money. Yeah, it's great to have money to sustain life and to be able to do the things you want to do and provide yourself with a comfortable life. Yeah, those things are important, but is that what the fulfillment piece looks like for you? Is that what it is that you're striving for? Or does fulfillment look like something like Dallas is talking about when it comes to teachers? Is it that actual sense of fulfillment that you're doing something better for you and the people around you? So that comes way before even doing step A, step B, step C, step D, step E, whatever, is really figuring out what that fulfillment looks like for you. So the thing that you're chasing, the thing that you're trying to obtain is something that you actually want to obtain and actually want to fulfill.
Let me see if I can get deep and this makes sense. Let me see if I can make sense for everybody to this and loop all of this together in one example, which is a personal example. Okay. Bigger and better. The game of bigger and better is it's taking risks, right? Like incremental risks, stretching yourself a little bit every day so that you can get to that big stretch, right? Well, how risky would it have been by me getting better in my skill set, my area of expertise, the thing that I draw fulfillment from, the work that I do, right? As a teacher, quote unquote, a teacher. How risky would it have been for me to stay in the position I was in, teaching in the same classroom, teaching the same thing year in and year out? There's no risk.
Yeah, no risk. The only risk there essentially is what you would have missed out on if you didn't take risks.
Exactly. And so taking it a step further, who am I robbing? Well, I'm robbing myself if I don't take those risks, right? But no, dude, I'm robbing everybody. I'm not robbing me. I'm robbing everybody. I'm robbing everybody that could benefit from that game of bigger or better within that skill set, the way I am able to provide value and draw fulfillment from my life. If I don't take those risks, yes, I'd be robbing myself. But worse, I would be robbing every single solitary person that I come in contact with on a regular basis. And I could not afford to do that anymore. And for those that are stuck, for those that are thinking, man, how can I get risky? Quit thinking about you. Start thinking about everybody else who could benefit from the skills that you have, from the gifts that you have, from who you are, and provide the world with those things, right? That's why you get bigger and better. That's why you take risks. That's why you play that game. It's not so that you can go get the freaking farmhouse in Canada. That's just a cool byproduct, but that will become even greater, right? Money will come. You will make money, and that money will represent something so much bigger than the money. That's why money is important to me. That's why a number is important to me, is because now that represents impact. Now that represents me doing due diligence on what it is I can do to provide the world with value. And that's the kind of transformation that is required for us to be able to continually get better at playing that game of bigger and better, and taking more and more calculated risks on a regular basis. Because again, if you don't, yes, you're robbing yourself, but quit thinking that way. Think bigger. You are robbing everybody around you. You are robbing, yes, yourself, but you're robbing your future self. You're robbing your future children. You're robbing your children. You're robbing your wife. You're robbing those people that you show up for every single day, because they're not getting the best version of you. And I can't wake up every day feeling that way. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I play that game of bigger and better.
That's a perfect way to wrap up the episode. Dallas, thank you so much, man. So much wisdom there. I feel like mic drop. Let's just turn it off and be done, because that was so powerful. But the one thing that I wanted to just end with is, I guess, the big overarching thing that I'm pulling out of this episode of what we've chatted about now is, don't skip the small steps. Don't skip the small steps, because in the small steps is where growth truly happens, where transformation truly happens, where you feel your sense of fulfillment actually happens, is doing these small steps, doing the hard work, and becoming that person that you want to be. So when you do look back, you can give yourself a pat on the back and say, hey, I did put in all that work, and look at me go, look at me grow. Dallas, thank you so much, man. Is there anything else you wanted to say as we wrap up here?
Amen, dude. Amen.
I love it. Dallas, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. Everybody that tunes into these episodes, thank you so much for listening, for your support. We love you. We appreciate you. Please feel free to rate, review, share the podcast. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your weekend. Take care, y'all.